Welcome back to part 2 of my acoustic guitar build. In the last episode, we left off with the body fully constructed, so today we will focus on everything else needed for a playable guitar. After resawing an angle through my mahogany neck blank, I removed the bandsaw marks by hand plane. I then forgot to press record, so enjoy this dramatic reenactment of me resawing the smaller piece, which would become the headstock. Then, using a simple jig to prevent the angled pieces from sliding apart, I glued them together and further flattened them by hand once it was dry. Then, the heel block was glued to the neck by laminating 3 thinner chunks. While that was drying, I began work on the fretboard. After squaring up the board, I attached it to a template using double-sided tape. The template has small indexes along its edge which correspond to where the frets will go. Then it gets slid into this small jig which has pins that slide into the indexes of the template. This allows you to cut the fret slots perfectly spaced out, which is crucial if you want a guitar that actually plays a tune. With the fret slots cut, I attached another template which would provide the fretboard taper. Then I just bandsawed most of the excess away before flush trimming it to the template. If you remember back to part 1, I used curly maple binding around the body, and I wanted that to continue up the fretboard. I attached it using binding tape just like before, only this time I didn't have to route any slots as it could be glued directly onto the edge. With that done, it's time to move the focus back onto the neck. At the router table, I cut a slot straight down the center of the neck blank which would house the truss rod. Then it was time to cut the mortise into the body of the guitar where the neck would attach. I used this jig from O'Brien Guitars which holds the body upright, allowing you to run a router down from the top. Then utilizing a template and guide bushing, I was able to route the mortise to the exact size I wanted. On the other side of the jig, the neck can be attached and the tenon be routed in the exact same way. One cool thing about this jig is it allows you to dial in the neck angle while you cut the tenon. Then I rough cut the curve of the heel before working on the fit of the mortise and tenon. Next came flossing, which is basically pulling strips of sandpaper under the shoulder of the tenon to make small adjustments to the fit, making sure not to change the backwards angle of the neck. I then drilled 2 holes through the bottom of the mortise where my bolts would run through. Then, I drilled more holes through the tenon which would house the barrel nuts that the bolts would secure into. Okay, now back to the fretboard. After marking their locations, I drilled shallow holes where the fretboard marker dots would get inlaid into. Then I secured them in place with a little super glue. My camera unfortunately decided to take a lunch break while I did the rest of them, but I'm sure you get the idea. For the headstock overlay, I glued a thin piece of Indian rosewood to match the back and sides, and trimmed off the overhang on the bandsaw. Then I began working on getting the fretboard glued to the neck. This part was definitely a little stressful because I planned to use the fretboard as a reference for shaping the neck, which meant if I wasn't lined up perfectly, everything would be out of alignment when attaching the neck and playability would not be great. Once satisfied, I slowly added clamps along its length, checking frequently just to be sure nothing had shifted. Once that had dried, I took it over to the bandsaw and trimmed off the bulk of the material outside the fretboard. Then, using a combination of a hand plane, rasp, and card scraper, I slowly worked the remaining excess until it matched the edges of the fretboard perfectly. Then I made some reference cuts at the start, middle, and end of the neck to give me target thicknesses, and set off to work carving the neck. Then I began work on the frets themselves, which turned out to be way more tedious than I had imagined. I started off by notching the ends of the fret tang so they'd be able to sit down between the binding on the edge of the fretboard. Then, using superglue, I tapped the frets carefully into their slots. Once they were all in, I clipped the ends flush with the fretboard. Next came leveling the frets, which is important because if one fret is even a little higher than the others, it would cause string buzzing when playing. But when doing this, a flat spot is sanded onto the top of each fret. So to fix this, you have to use a special crowning file and go over each fret individually to bring back the rounded top. The ends of the frets are then beveled before individually addressing each fret end to ensure there are no sharp edges. Then I decided I didn't really like the look of the mahogany, so I opted to paint it this brownish color, and man, is that looking good. Okay, don't worry, I'm just kidding, I would never do that. That was just the grain filler, which then got sanded away once dry. In preparation for grain filling on the body, I applied a thin coat of shellac to hopefully prevent the dark filler from staining the lighter wood of the binding and top. Then I just smeared it around, waited for it to dry, and sanded it off. Next, I drilled the holes in the headstock where the tuning machines would go. With that, everything is prepped and ready for finish. I originally wanted to do a spray-on finish, but I didn't really have a good way to do that, so I opted to do a French polish, which is basically hundreds of thin coats of shellac. This might sound way overkill if you're used to the 3 to 5 coats normally done with a poly, but these coats are so thin that they are dry within seconds of applying. And that's one of the benefits of doing a French polish. Because the finish is so much thinner than anything else out there, it allows the wood to vibrate better, which in turn gives a more resonant guitar. Now there are probably a lot of other areas in the construction I could improve upon that would make a bigger difference in the sound than the finish does, but it certainly doesn't hurt. As you can see, I masked off where the bridge and fretboard would be glued on, so it still has raw wood for a stronger bond. Now that everything was finished, I permanently attached the neck by bolting it on and gluing down the fretboard to the body. I had recently acquired a CNC, so I decided to give that a go for the bridge, cutting the saddle slot and profile. I then shaped the ends of it on my drum sander. The placement of the bridge is extremely critical if the guitar is to play in tune, so I spent a long time making sure it was in the exact right place. Then I carefully traced around the edge with a scalpel and removed the little bit of finish around the edge, as I had made the mask undersized. Then, double checking it was still sitting where I wanted it, I taped it to place to help prevent it from sliding around when I applied the clamps. I should note, if you are wanting to build your own acoustic guitar after watching this video, please do a ton of research into the entire process from people who actually know what they're doing, as there's a lot more that goes into it than I show here. Then it was on to the last two pieces of the guitar, the saddle and nut. I started by sanding the saddle down in thickness so it would fit snugly in the slot cut in the bridge. Then I sanded a radius into one side so that it would match that of the fretboard. The saddle was then shaped further to ensure the strings would play in tune across the entire fretboard. Next, I marked and drilled the location of the bridge pins. This was followed by reaming the holes so that the taper would match that found on the bridge pins. Then I moved on to the nut. After shaping it like I did for the saddle, I cut slots where the strings would run and tacked it into place with a small drop of super glue. Then I reinstalled the tuning machines and began stringing up the guitar for the first time, turning a wooden box into a real instrument. And now, for what I'm sure you're all been wondering, let's go check out how this guitar plays. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is a project I've been wanting to do for a really long time, so I'm very excited that I'm able to share that with all of you. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos like this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.